Hello and a very warm welcome. In today's video we have got ridiculous penalties, once again inconsistency by the stewards, a great race at Qatar overlooked by ridiculous, bizarre, inconsistent penalties, and the crime of them all is George Russell's. Time and time again we saw this in the sprint race, but George Russell was the only guy to get punished, and then Yuki Tsunoda got the same treatment. But very, very strange, peculiar, and we are now giving penalties for overtaking. Turn 12, it's always going to happen. If you try going round the outside, you're asking to be pushed off the circuit. And it's criminal that George Russell receives a penalty for this. Not only is he in a Mercedes and he's overtaking the slowest car on the grid, who are yet to score by the way, it's a ridiculous penalty. George Russell has put a clean move on Valtteri Bottas and he gets a 5-second penalty. It's absolutely scandalous. Valtteri Bottas, unfortunately for him, is in the slowest car. This should not be a penalty. Russell has gone for an overtake. He's not hit Valtteri Bottas. It's ridiculous. So now, at the stewards, we are punishing drivers for overtaking. Same happened with Tsunoda. Obviously the Max and Norris one, which got more headlines, of course that will get more headlines. Them two are in the title fight. This should be getting more headlines. George Russell has been absolutely fucked here. There's no getting away from it. And Tsunoda. It's important that we add Tsunoda because he got the same penalty as Russell. It's ridiculous. Like, how is that a penalty? He's not pushed him off. It's just that corner. That's the line you take. For me, obviously, if we get gravel trap out there, we wouldn't be talking about it. Instead of talking about a great race, again, we're talking about the stewards, the FIA, and their incompetency. Total Wolf hints at FIA steward correlations after bizarre US grid penalties. Total Wolf called out the inconsistent stewards' decisions at the US Grand Prix, correlations, and in what he feels biased decision making. So Russell was the first driver penalised on Sunday, hit with a 5-second penalty for forcing Bottas off. He did not force him off. He put a clean overtake in a much faster car. Why Bottas? Of course Bottas is going to try and keep his position, but like I say, if you go around the outside of turn 12, obviously you're going to be pushed off. Again, it's frustrating with Formula 1 because this should be a non-topic. Stick a piece of gravel there. Like Austria had massive track issues. They stuck gravel there and we didn't talk about it as much. It's a consistent theme every time we go to Qatar because there's so much runoff. It's happens every year. Turn 9, turn 19, track limits. It's too much runoff. Yuki Tsunoda received a similar penalty, and yet Max twice escaped without sanctions for forcing Norris off the track. I'm just reading an article. That is not my opinion. Russell, who finished the Grand Prix in an impressive 6th from the pit lane, asked Mercedes' boss on the cool-down lap whether Max got a penalty. No, he didn't get a penalty, and at the end Lando got a penalty for being forced off and overtaking off track. I guess it is just biased decision making. Wolf called out the stewards, telling Sky their decision making inconsistent. And as usual, I'm trying to do something and we get an advert. With Bottas, it wasn't even a race. It's ridiculous. He's in the slowest car. We saw a few of those incidents in the sprint race was exactly the same and were not penalised when racing for positions, real positions. Actually, receiving that penalty is just completely odd and bizarre. I think we know why, but I can't say that on television. Sometimes there are correlations when the decision making, that bit is interesting. We've seen it. Look at Kevin Magnussen's penalty at Monza. Corrupt. George Russell's penalty at Kota is corrupt. Yuki Tsunoda's penalty at Kota is corrupt. It's not a penalty. How can you... Formula One, the pinnacle of motorsport, and you are now punishing drivers for trying to overtake. I don't understand it. Should we just follow the leader for 56, 57, 58 laps, whatever the race distance is? It is ridiculous. I don't get it at all. He later sat down in media duty. Toto, I think the stewards are in a real difficult situation. There's always going to be one side that's happy and one side that's not. We need to try and understand whether there are certain patterns in the stewarding decision and whether that correlates to some of the Everybody's racing hard, but for me, George's penalty was inexplicable. We've seen plenty of these situations in turn 12. Not one of them was penalised until George and Yuki. And then obviously there was another one of those, which was Yuki. I don't want to comment on Max Lando's situation because that's not my race. Yeah, I've got to say it's absolutely ridiculous. I've watched it back. You don't really even need to watch it back because the first time you see something, it's usually your gut instinct. And on this occasion, it's scandalous. Again, instead of talking about a good race at Kota, a good race. But it is a problem with the track. It does provide good racing, but there's also some serious issues there, like turn 9 and turn 19, that never get addressed every single year. Next year, 2025, I guarantee we talk about turn 9 and turn 19, because it's never addressed. Stick a gravel trap there, they won't go out there. Why are they going out there? To gain an advantage. It's as simple as that. They wouldn't go out there otherwise. Turn 12 caused a lot of problems this weekend during the race, but like we've just addressed, the sprint ones weren't punished, but in the main race they were. And George was the first to receive. It doesn't make any sense to me. You cannot punish overtaking, otherwise F1 is dead, isn't it? Yeah. Russell, Tsunoda, absolutely shafted. They can't even appeal it. I would appeal it, but ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And for the Max and Lando one, Max pushed him off at turn 1. I would say first lap, they're a bit lenient on the first lap. I think it's Lando's mistake for not properly covering the inside. But yeah, we have seen it in the past with Nico and Lewis. And then the big one into turn 12 again. Turn 12 caused all the problems. Yeah, they both went off the track. So, in my opinion, they should have... Max should have stayed third, Lando fourth, and carry on racing. No penalties, just carry on racing. It's a simple fix. Simple things actually work. Yeah, comment down below your thoughts. I thought these penalties were scandalous. And George Russell, Toto Wolff, Yuki Tsunoda, Lauren McKees, they've got every right to be seething. Comment down below your thoughts. And wow, to address another issue, driver ratings. Liam the Lesbian Lawson is a laugh. It's a joke. He looks like a lesbian, hence why I call him Liam the Lesbian Lawson's. Yeah, I can't believe the amount of interest that has got. It's just a laugh. I call Collie dog Collar Pinto. And no one mentions that because it's a nice dog and everyone likes a collie. You can't win them all. But yeah, it's just a laugh. It's not serious. I rate Liam Lesbian Lawson. He should have been on the grid a long time ago. And he's done very well. Yeah. So comment down below your thoughts. Thanks for the support.